morning, everybody, and welcome to Merrifield's Gardening Advisor. We're so glad you could join us today. I'm your host, Debbie Warhurst-Kapp, along with gardening experts David Yost and Peg Beer. And we have a very special show for you today because, as many of you know, this is our last show after 25 years. So we've got a fun show. We've got a very good show playing. Fun and interesting.
We're doing a lot that we're going to pack in the next hour, so I hope you stay tuned through the whole program. Lots of gardening information. We're going to take a little time to look at how we're going to deal with the difficult growing conditions this winter and how cold it's been, as well as looking ahead some new developments that are coming up in the gardening world.
And we're going to look back at some fun things because 25 years is a long time.
25 years is a long time.
And we've got a few photographs to show for it.
That's right. And hopefully some video footage
and some
as well.
big differences in those sitting here.
That's right. That's right. And of course, Diane will join us at later on in the show when we're going to be talking about many of the memories and that type of thing. So look forward to that. But speaking of looking different over the years,
looking back.
Let's take a look at the first couple of pictures we brought along. I think the first one is me. Let's see. Oh, there I am. Don't I look 15?
I was going to say, were you 15, 16 years old in that picture?
Actually, I think I was 32, so that was pretty good. But that was in the first year. That was a commercial we did in 1990. The show started back in April of 1990 over at Media General Cable and on their Channel 8. And so that was one of the first commercials.
Well, you barely changed it all. I can see a slight change over the past 25 years.
If you don't want to see, change.
Let's see the next picture. Let's get off of that one. There we go. Okay, here we go. Talk about change.
Oh my goodness.
You've always been a fashion statement,
That's right.
Peg.
There you are.
And okay, let's talk about David a little bit.
Wait a minute, before we get off that was Dr. John on there too, because when we first started, Dr. John was our host. So
that's right.
That was the two of you and David.
Yeah, I guess I started in 1998. That's the deer in the headlights look when you go on TV for your first time.
That's right. And we hopefully will have some footage later on in the show of the very first show, of David's very first show, and very early shows with us. So stay tuned for that. Before we get started, let's get through with our announcements, because there's always something happening at Merrifield Garden Center, always something exciting happening at Merrifield Garden Center. So our seminars continue today, as they will for the next couple months. And our first seminar is at our Merrifield location today, which is Garden Accents and Focal Points. And that is with Mary Kirk-Menifee, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, and she's going to be talking about some great ideas for your garden. So that's at 10 a.m. at the Merrifield location, right at the Merrifield Community Hall, which is right next door to our Merrifield location. At Fair Oaks, Pruning Made Easy, Larry Shapiro is going to be there. Professor Larry Shapiro is going to be talking about pruning, and then he's going to take you on a little pruning exercise, I believe, if weather permitting.
Right. We're just going to work. We're setting up a little demonstration area. We're pulling some shrubs out there, and actually at the end of this seminar classroom thing, he's going to go outside and do a little hands-on demo.
Great.
So that's always popular. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
'Tis the season.
That's right.
Do the prunes.
That's right. Time to get going with that.
Right.
And at our Gainesville location, Rob Blunt is going to be talking about using stone in the landscape. So that is so popular now. So that's a great seminar to take advantage of. That's at 10 a.m. at our Gainesville location. And as always, our seminars will continue through the month of March and through the month of April. And we've got next week's seminars up there. There we go. Making a big impact in a small space, grassroots initiative, and repotting your bonsai workshop. Now, on the bonsai workshop, if you could sign up for that on the website ahead of time, that would help them know, how many are coming. But that's fine if you don't.
Right, and I do want to make a couple points on these seminars. One is grassroots initiative, which like means nothing to anybody. That's going to be Scott Aker from the National Arboretum. So the National Arboretum has put in multi-year, I think it's about a 4-year display looking at this one family of plants, grasses, and what an impact it has both in terms of turf grass for homeowners, ornamental grasses, agricultural grasses. So it's kind of a nondescript title, but it's going to be a really exciting presentation.
Great. Great.
And like I said, the bonsai workshop, that is definitely hands-on. That's where you can bring your bonsai in, work with the experts from the Bonsai Society. This is the time of year to be repotting them. That's also going to be a really unique experience.
Absolutely.
Yes, it will be.
And since we're not going to be here next week, I really wanted to
that's right,
promote them
that's right.
for you this week, because those,
Yeah.
all those classes are more exciting than the titles show.
That's right.
Right.
And if you have not picked up the seminar schedule, as I said, they continue for quite a while now. Pick up the seminar schedule at any of our 3 locations of Merrifield Garden Center, or you can go to our website, merrifieldgardencenter.com, and they're all listed there, and they're all wonderful seminars, aren't they?
Yes.
So let's see what else. Oh, you know, now that it's light a little longer and time's about to change, our hours are changing a little bit at Merrifield Garden Center. So starting on Monday, March 2nd, we're going to be open basically Monday through Saturday through dark, which I know is a little ambiguous, but you know, more towards the 6:30, and then when the time changes the next week, towards the 7:30, and then later on in the month we'll change to our regular hours. But also starting next Sunday, we'll be open till 6 on Sundays.
Very good.
Yeah. So
Good for that longer day.
that's right. That's right. So I think that's all the announcements.
Great.
that we
Well,
have.
let's get right into our topic with bringing up the first picture here. And this first picture is a little bit of a weird picture to begin with, I might say, but I put it in here because to me it really illustrates that we never really know what the future holds for us throughout life.
This is very true.
Yeah. You can make all the plans you want. You can do the best planning possible.
Right.
It's out there, but then life throws things at you you're just not expecting. And nobody knows this better than gardeners do. You know, we sit there and we make our plans, we project ahead, and that's the right thing to do, but you have to be willing and able and adaptable to adjust the conditions and what life throws at you. So I thought this kind of illustrated the point quite well. And that's a lot of what we're doing today. Is the big story out there, of course, is the winter cold. It's been freezing cold, ridiculously cold, hard winter here. So we look back and say, okay, well, what did we learn from the really cold weather last year?
Last year, absolutely.
We project ahead, say, well, what does that mean for us this year? But of course, we never really know.
No, and I think it's so important what you particularly are going to share with the people, because we saw all the results from last year and we realized people took things out too soon or what. So David really has some wonderful thinking
And
to share.
right, and our next picture is just an illustration
Yes.
from last year, and I hate to say, but it looks like it's a repeat performance. You know,
It
where
is.
already plants, some of the evergreens, like that's a little camellia that I was displaying on the wall. The nandina are getting beat up. Hey, I say I've already said we better order plenty of rosemary. I know that's a temperamental or marginal plant.
Yes, and a few more gardenias.
And gardenias, right. So there's definitely some plants out there that are going to get hammered this winter. It's happening right now, but when we come back from our commercial break, we're really going to start focusing our attention on what do we do about that.
Right.
So great. We'll take a
Yes.
quick break and be right back. As you can see, there's our wonderful book about my dad, The American Dream. Hope you can stop by and pick up a copy if you haven't yet. We've got them available at all 3 stores. So it's a great book. I love that book.
As I still have people coming in telling me how much they've been enjoying
know.
reading it. Now some people reading it their second
I
time.
know, and people have come in and bought copies for other people, which has been great. So.
Yeah.
All right, back to our topic.
Well, we were just talking about the big story that's out there, which is the cold weather.
Right.
I mean, every morning waking up here in single-digit temperatures and so on. And what is this going to mean to us as gardeners? And again, we'll just start with the picture. We experienced some really cold weather last year, and I think we're going to see the same thing this year. But what's happening is this affects different plants in different ways. There are a lot of marginal evergreens, plants like here we're looking at the nandina, but this could be a camellia, it could be a magnolia. The thing is, these are the same plant. You can sort of see the before and after. And I use as my own experience, I had this little camellia spalliate. April comes, there's nothing but dead. May comes, there's nothing but dead. I've made a decision that I'm going to remove it and replace it, and lo and behold, when I go to dig it out in June, I start to see signs of recovery that's going on in there. So my first point on this is you can be patient on a lot of these evergreens particularly. A lot of them will come back. You might see that defoliation, but if the buds are alive, the vascular tissue's intact, they can come back and be just as beautiful as they ever were before.
All of the top branches were killed on most of the figs last year, but almost all of them came from the base. And people did prematurely dig them. And so you really do have to watch for that. That isn't to say to leave a dead plant forever or what you think is dead, but with some of these plants, they're not dead, you know?
Right, and it's really variable because we were dealing a lot of times with plants that were installed, let's say last fall. They may not have been as well established. They may be more susceptible to damage.
Right.
So the maturity of the plant, the location, the exact species is a factor in there. But there are some things, like we saw a lot of loss last year, outright killed. Some of the rosemary, for example.
Yes, that was
People
gone.
had rosemary in their garden for 10, 12 years, and just a severe cold killed it. Plants that are containers might be outright killed. We had some of these gardenias that maybe weren't fully established or exposed, just outright killed.
But a lot of did come back because they were protected. So you said a lot of things figure into whether or not they're going to make it through this. And snow cover. We've had a lot of snow cover this year. So I mean, that's a plus.
Right. So what are your predictions for spring as far as this goes?
It's going to be great.
Okay, I like that optimistic
It's gonna be
attitude.
great.
Simple. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're looking at is, like we were talking about, plants against the top of them got killed back to the roots. Now hydrangeas are an example of that. Hydrangeas, the top part of the plant may not be as cold hardy as the roots are, but this leads us into our looking ahead, and there's a lot of new developments taking place, particularly in this group of shrubs.
I'm really excited about all of these. These are among my favorites. When I'm standing in front of them, they are my favorites. You know?
We know that. What's Peg's favorite plant? The one I'm looking at.
Yeah, but these are pictures out of catalogs where we order from. So you're, like myself and several of us, at the trade shows and out looking ahead, seeing what's coming in there. And this just gives you an idea of the beautiful colors and different forms that are going to be available. We look into our next page, and it even drills down to more specifics on this. And a lot of what's going on in hydrangeas, a lot of us know about the repeat bloomers. This really started several years with the Endless Summer series. Now that's kind of multiplying, because typically what will happen is the older hydrangeas, they grow up, they flower in midsummer, have a beautiful bloom, and that's it for the season. But some of these newer varieties will flower off of what we call new wood. So even when they're done flowering, they can regrow, produce more blooms. So rounding this out, back to what we're talking about with the winter damage, some hydrangeas, if they get killed back to the ground, they'll regrow and rebloom.
Right.
Some of them get killed back to the ground, they regrow, but no flowers. And it really depends on the variety that's out there. There are also developing varieties that are denser, fuller, more compact, and different flower forms in there. So a lot going on in that one group.
Absolutely, and as David was talking, you're looking. I'm looking at one of the catalogs because we go to these shows, and this is where we learn what is coming to the market, because so many wonderful horticulturists are producing all of these things, and hydrangea now is getting a little complicated because there are so many varieties out there, and one of the beauties is they are developing smaller ones because a lot of people's gardens are smaller. But
exactly,
this is one that
nice
is fantastic.
ones.
And the beautiful one that Robert Saunders was talking about last week.
And they're going to have that. They're producing that particular one. But just going through, we may indeed lose some bloom this year, but it's not necessarily the cold in the ground always. It could be late frosts, like the snow you saw on Easter. Okay, so you have to watch for those, but now we do have the rebloomers, and that is fantastic.
Right, and we had these in our garden center last year, and we're going to have them in there this year.
Yes.
And we have one more picture. We're talking about hydrangeas, not just the big leaf or macrophylla, mophead type hydrangeas, But so much is going on. This showing some of the different species that are out there, the panicle hydrangeas, the smooth hydrangeas, oak leaf hydrangeas. So it's just an example, because this kind of development is going on with viburnums. We see this with weigelias, and we see a lot of plants with a lot more varieties to choose from. The breeders do this excellent job, and we're going to have all these plants for you.
Yes, they will be there, and I'm very excited. There's a couple of them that I'm going to have to try.
All right.
I may have to take something out to put something in, but that's the way it goes.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the many ways that we can help you at Merrifield Garden Center to continue your love of gardening. And we won't be here each week on the show, but we'll be at Merrifield Garden Center. So stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Welcome back, everybody, to Merrifield's Gardening Advisor. Here we are on our last show. We have ready
Oh, no.
tissues.
I
My
thought
friend
that was a
Fran
riot.
gave me a present yesterday, so I'm going to try not to use these, Fran, but
But if you need them, they're
if I
there.
need them, they're there.
If I need them, can I
You
grab a couple?
absolutely
Okay,
can.
thank you.
So you were talking about?
Well, just in this last segment, we're looking back at what happened in the winter last year, trying to predict what's going to happen this winter, but as we said, don't really know exactly. So the point is, as spring arrives, as we start going into April, you're going to have questions. Do I prune it back? Do I replace it? All these, those type of questions. Do I just wait and do nothing? All these options are going to face you. But the point is, we're going to be here to help you. Even if we're not here on the TV show, we're at the Garden Center, and that's really what we're all about.
Absolutely.
And you did get some shots of I think our plant clinic
We
is
did,
a
yeah.
major stronghold, because
Absolutely.
it's rare that we get stumped.
That's right.
There's
That's right. Even on
so-
air, it was rare that we got them. But every once in a while.
Yeah,
This is at our Merrifield store.
Yeah,
And this is just, we couldn't gather everybody up. This is
Right,
just
right.
representative.
Exactly, exactly.
Exactly. We've got Joel, Steve, and Sylvia there. As you said, these are just who happen to be there at the moment we took the picture, because
Right.
we do have a full staff of professional horticulturists and plant specialists. But we're all there to help you, and that's going to be in helping care for the garden that you already have, your existing plants, helping these questions about winter damage. Also there to help you select new plants.
Well, this is true. And in the next picture, I think coming
at
up
Fair Oaks.
is at the Fair Oaks location. And of course, that's where I am. That's where David is most of the time too. And I'm always intrigued with this. I step aside when they're talking about diagnosis and chemicals and so forth. But I know how important it is to protect ourselves, to protect our environment. We've got to be good to our environment. I am not anti-chemical. Chemicals have their place, because I've been in agriculture and horticulture all my life, but I know how important it is to diagnose what is the problem.
Right.
What do you treat it with, whether it's a chemical or organic, and what is the timing on that? But David, also, how do you dispose of whatever chemical you have left? And if you go down to the local store and you, without any advice, you don't know what you're treating, and you buy a chemical and you don't know what it is, to me, this is not good for the environment.
I am so glad you brought that up, Peggy, because I'm always emphasizing, and repeat this like a broken record, probably 70–75% of the time, the problems that we're seeing when bringing to the clinic have nothing to do with insects or disease or chemicals. A lot of times this is watering, pruning, planting, winter stress. And you're so right, you go to places that don't have the expertise and you're purchasing chemicals when that has nothing to do with the problem. We're always, as Peggy said, going to recommend the least toxic controls measures first, but where chemicals are appropriate, that is definitely an option, but we're going to help you buy the appropriate amounts so you don't have a lot of leftover,
Right.
and always giving you pointers on the proper use. a lot of emphasis, like I said, on the timing. A lot of these pests, it really is critical that you're using the right product at the right time. Because the last thing we want you to do, the last thing I want is I envision people are collecting all these products. They're in their garage, they're in their basement or shed. Moving day comes, you don't know how to dispose of it, they're not handled correctly. So we're really there to help you be successful with your garden and to avoid some of these potential problems down the road.
And this, I said, is our stronghold. Is being able to be there for you and to do that. You know, this may be our last show right now, but the future is open.
That's right.
You know?
Right. And this is at all 3 of our locations.
I was going to say, can we go back to the picture before, though, at the Fair Oaks location? Because I wanted to mention that in that picture at Fair Oaks, the picture before, there we go, we've got Paul McLean, we've got Peter Hogarth, we've got Andrea, we've got Regina and James. And out of that picture, Paul, David, Regina, and James have all been here on the show with us.
And the missing is Terry Hirschberger because he wasn't there that day. And he has also, he is one who absolutely loves nature. And he has come on with the birds and the bees and the butterflies and with his incredible pictures. And we want to protect the birds, the bees, and the butterflies as well as ourselves.
That's right.
You
So
know?
now let's take a look at Gainesville.
Right,
Yes.
because we can't include everybody, but Debbie, you made such a good point. We've had so many of our own experts from trees and shrubs and perennials from the plant clinic, and so many talented people. And a lot of these people you know. If you've been watching the TV show, you already know them, and you can come in and know them by name. And some people, I mean, like Rob Woodman and Amy Strunk, who are here so often, but they've moved on with their families and done other things, but just a real legacy they've left behind.
That's right.
And again, a top-notch crew you're going to find at all 3 of our stores.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've got, as you mentioned, there's been so many people from our experts that have been on over the years. You mentioned Amy and Rob. Renetta's been on several times. Karen Rexroad's been on several times through the years. Of course, Dr. John and Vivian Mitchell, Larry Shapira. I mean, the names go on and on and on. We can't mention them all, but we thank you all so much for joining us, and some of our special guests. We've had a lot of special guests.
Exactly. So as proud as we are of our own staff, I mean, just like we had Robert Saunders on last week, and I think I'd mentioned Scott Aker. We had scheduled for next week, but that's not happening. You know, but Michael Raup and Dr. Goatley from Virginia Tech. I mean, we reach out every place.
Right.
A lot of good people, a lot of good advice, absolutely. And we got a lot to look forward to.
That's right.
Right.
You've got some things.
Exactly. That's
up.
looking back, but as we say, as we look ahead, I don't want to get the wrong message out to anybody. We are going to have a beautiful spring. There's always, I say, winners and losers in the landscape. This is from last spring when cherries are in bloom along the tidal basin, and that's the thing. There are some plants that thrive in cold temperatures, require cold temperatures. So a lot of our spring flowering trees, like the cherries, are going to be fantastic. You know, the fruit trees are going to be phenomenal. A lot of the shrubs, we're talking about plants like hydrangea and the things that don't like the cold, but there are other plants like the lilacs that thrive in cold temperatures. So we'll just go through our pictures. That's why I brought the lilacs. So if you have lilacs in your garden, that's something to look forward to.
And did I ever tell you that my husband proposed to me at the tidal basin?
No,
I didn't
when
know
the
that.
cherry blossoms were in bloom.
How appropriate is that?
Exactly.
Besides being romantic,
That was
but very appropriate.
and we had 55 wonderful years to show for it.
Exactly. So beautiful bouquet of lilacs there, and of course the spring bulbs. Spring will be here, and when it comes, it's going to really explode with color. Tulips and daffodils and crocus and all those beautiful flowers, they're going to come up just like clockwork.
I think we've got one more picture to show of that.
Yeah,
Yes, there they are.
Just trying to, this is our looking ahead.
hints of
Obviously, we're
spring.
not there yet, but we don't want to be gloom and doom. Yes, there's going to be some winter damage, and we're going to be here to help cope with all those things.
That's right.
And yes, there's going to be beautiful,
It's
beautiful
gonna be
flowers
gorgeous.
next
That's right.
spring, and we're going to be here to
right.
help with that.
Absolutely.
And
So
if
we-
something passes on, that just leaves you room to try something
That's
else.
right.
Me, anyway.
That's right. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some of the new things coming up. And Peg's going to go over to our virtual garden,
She's
as we
gonna
like to
send
call
me
it.
into
I'm
the
going to send you to the virtual garden one last time. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Merrifield's Gardening Advisor, and we're looking forward. Spring is coming, and we're going to be ready for you. So what's new in 2015? Fortunately, we have a lot of wonderful people in the industry that are constantly coming up with something new. A lot of our new things for container gardening, as well as in the ground, annual-wise, is color in the foliage. And we've always had the wonderful sweet potato vines, and sometimes they're so vigorous they take over the world. But now they've come up with those that you can use that are smaller and not quite as aggressive. So that's one thing that's changing. A lot of foliage, not just in sweet potatoes, but in a lot of other things. Here, other things, for instance, are caladiums. People with a lot of shade, including myself, need that kind of color, and you're going to find more varieties there. Long blooming annuals, we're always looking for those things that you can put in early, go through the summer, and hopefully last into fall. Some of those things are the supertunias. They don't have to be deadheaded, but in addition to the supertunias, there's a lot of other new ones coming onto the market now. And in the million bells, which look like little petunias, you're going to find a wealth of things. You can see in the catalog background the beautiful containers that are here filled with these plants. Container gardenings enhance our lives. They're there for those people that only have a deck, that only have a balcony, or a big garden. But there's other exciting things coming up too. So let's roll through these pretty quickly. We've got some exciting things coming up for you, and one of which is, and I've kind of resisted this for a while, but I'm not resisting it anymore. Now I'm getting excited about it. They're beautiful, hardy succulents that can be used in the garden, and I love them. The hens and chicks and the creeping sedums and so forth. But now I am going to a lot of the non-hardies, the tropicals, that can be mixed with the hardies and really create some beauty. Look at the color in this plant. It's yellow, it's bronze, it's gray, it's combinations of all of that. And this is just a grouping of pots that I tried in my garden last year. Now I had to bring them inside, and I did, and they are thriving, and I'm so pleased. So let's go quickly through these because we got some special things coming up for you. This was at a show that we are constantly going out there. We're constantly opening ourselves to a lot of information that we can share with you. And here again, these are the tropical plants that are just beautiful, particularly in containers. You look at the golds and the burgundies and the variations here. And I think we've got 2 or 3 more pictures that I want to share. Okay, another thing that has just mushroomed is the beauty of color and texture within evergreens and sizes. There was a time when you could only get plants that would outgrow things in your landscape, but that's not the case today. In a lot of these plants, there are those that grow quite large for those that need that, and then there's intermediate sizes, and in the next picture you'll see the dwarf forms, and I am loving these. And we have gotten now, and we'll have even better selections of all these various little evergreens. Some can be as small as little buns from inches across to variations up to 2 or 3 feet, can be kept in containers, and I think we have a couple more pictures here, okay? In containers, hypertufa pots, which we've specialized in, and you can go to any other kind of, whether it's ceramic or wooden or anything can be a container and can be turned into these wonderful little landscapes that you can enjoy. So let's go through the next couple of ones. Fairy gardens. Why not use your imagination? Why not have a little fun? And wow, this was something that I've been doing for years, but I really do enjoy the fact that it finally is out there for everybody and they're enjoying it. I think we have one more. No, that's it. Okay, use our imagination. All right, when we come back, we have something to share with you that I think you're going to enjoy, and I think that we are also. So we will be back in a moment with Looking Back.
Sun, how do you plant, how much fertilizer, how to identify plants, the list goes on. A new hour-long show on Channel 8 sponsored by the Merrifield Garden Center is aimed at answering your nagging questions.
Good evening, folks. Good evening, and what an evening it is. Golly, I'm excited. You know, I may not look excited, but I certainly am, because this is a very, very first. It's a very first for Merrifield Garden Center. Welcome back, folks. Now, tonight we have with us a guest. She's really not a guest. She's a very, very important person at our nursery. She's been there a long time. Miss Peggy Beer.
Tune in next week at the same time on News Channel 8, where the gardening news is always great.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Gardening Advisor Program, brought to you by the Merrifield Garden Center. Once again, I'm your host, Kevin Warhurst, and we have an absolutely wonderful show for you tonight, folks.
Good morning, and welcome once again to the Gardening Advisor, presented by Merrifield Garden Center. I'm Debbie Kapp, and I'm sitting in for Dr. John for the next few weeks. And with me today, as she will be throughout the holidays, is our own Peg Beer. She's a very talented lady. She's a horticulturist and a designer. Welcome, Peggy.
Thank you, Deb, and good morning, everybody. Now, I've asked Bob Warhurst, who's co-owner of Merrifield Garden Center, to join us on the latter part of the show to talk about the ease of getting rid of these overgrown plants, because he's the man that has to worry about getting rid of it. I have to worry about helping to make it beautiful.
Well, what we've got, Peggy, we've got a special machine, of course, that goes in, and we actually pull those plants out by the roots.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Gardening Advisor. I think we've got our technical problems taken care of. We apologize to those of you who are waiting on the phones for us. I believe Sarah's on the line.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for waiting.
Sure. My question is concerning the mushrooms that have popped up over my lawn in the last week. I have an abundance of them, and I'm wondering what causes them and what can I do to eliminate them.
Right. So let me just ask you, are they growing in any kind of pattern?
No.
Just randomly scattered throughout?
Right.
It's late summer now, and the drought and the heat and everything has really taken its toll on some of the annuals, and they're starting to wind down. But there's a lot of things that we can do to transition into the fall and bring a lot of beauty and color and interest in the garden in fall. So join me today. It's Peggy Beer.
Talking about watering here real quick between the two of us, and we'd like to talk to watering about you. What with you about watering?
Yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of our viewers have noticed, and I've been getting a lot of questions, it's starting to look like fall. The trees are starting to go all colored, you know, a lot of yellowing of leaves, shedding of leaves. But ladies and gentlemen, that's not fall.
We had such a great time this week looking through these old footages.
And we've got plenty of it. We've got plenty of it to look through, right?
Oh, goodness. So we really did have a great time. It was, we weren't sure, I mean, as you can see, this was very old footage. The very first clip, the first two clips was from our very, very first show. First, it was over on News Channel 8, on Media General Channel 8, where we started with Dr. John, and the news anchor brought us in. She announced the show. There you go. You see it there, and then you see Dr. John on the very first episode there. So that was 25 years ago, and we have had a ball ever since. Yep. Well, I want to introduce everybody to Diane. Of course, you know Diane Hawthorne. Thank you for being here with us, Diane, because we literally could not do this show without you, Diane.
Thank you.
Diane, not only does she take care of your phone calls and everything when you're there, but she picks out what we're going to decorate the set with, and and she gets up early and hauls it over here and gets it set up, and everything looks so great.
But I have to say, what an opportunity. You know, Merrifield Garden Center, you're given the box of crowns with 1,000.
Right.
You know, it's really, I mean, if you go in, you can't miss. I mean, they always have so many beautiful things, and people have mentored you, and it's just been a pleasure, and just you know, so much fun, and for people to welcome us into their home every week, we just, you know, we've really appreciated it, and it's been fun. But again, the garden center come in because it is a box of crayons with, you know, just overwhelming number of, it's a palette that you can create just whatever your dream is.
Absolutely.
You know.
And you started with us on the show in the very early days.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. John. And yes, so those are all good memories, and very fun, very fun, always good. But so many people to help us.
We do have a couple pictures of Diane. We do. Thank you for reminding me. Let's take a look at Diane at work here.
Diane.
First of all, you see what she brings in every week. There we go. That's just a
this
part
is
of
what it looks like.
It looks like
you
before
know?
we get going with the show.
And we're so pleased with those little red wagons.
That's right. That's right. And then the next picture is Diane
They have put
at
the
work.
mileage on the red wagon.
There's with one of our former directors, Ernie, and back in the control room. So thank you, Diane, for
and the
everything
wonderful
you do.
people at News Channel 8,
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
What a joy.
Well, we've got some great history here, and we've got a few pictures to go through with you here. So this was over at Media General, Channel 8. We started in early April 1990, and we our first show was on Tuesday night. Live. We had planned to take phone calls. We actually asked some friends to call because we didn't know if we'd have any calls coming in, and we didn't need any of that.
Yes,
to use any
I
of those.
remember well.
That's right.
And there's your dear mother
That's
down
right.
there in the
Mom's
right-hand
there,
corner,
and
working
Dad is over on
hard.
this side. Yep.
And your dad's right there.
And Ken on camera. So we still work together with Ken even today. So.
And in those days, we'd put Doris to work.
That's
too.
right. Doris and Buddy, we all went over there at the, we would go over, it's right across the street from our Merrifield location. There's Dr. John. That's the original set, and there's Doris. And
Doris
as
Williams.
you can see on the camera there, the notes. He would put, you know, what we're going to talk about on the notes.
Well, really, I think about how much the technology has changed over the time. I remember, like, say, using flip charts and handwritten notes and all that. Everything's digital now.
Well, and Doris and Mom would be in the background taking the phone calls. Dad was back in the control room helping to direct, and Peggy was bringing plants over, and it was so much fun.
Right.
And this was one of our sets too. We did change up a little bit on our sets.
Right. This was after when News Channel 8 came into the market and wanted us to continue doing it. This was down in Springfield.
Yes.
One of our first sets down there. So.
Yeah, and I look back, I think it was 1998 when I started.
It was.
Had to do a little homework to remember exactly which year it was. The time goes by; it's just unbelievable.
That's right.
For me, I think it's been over 16 years. Getting up on those Saturday mornings,
absolutely.
hauling everything down here, putting the production on. But it's always it's just been a joy.
It has. And then the next picture is when we came over to the Arlington set when everybody moved over there. There's the whole gang there, and then we'll just kind of show you a few pictures through here, I guess.
And I thought people might enjoy kind of getting an idea of what it actually takes to sort of put the show on. They're asking how much time we plan and stuff, and usually not a lot of time. I mean, a lot of us we're sitting down work because we have full-time jobs taking care of plants and customers and running a business, and so we sort of just catch a few minutes with each other before coming down here, and then we get a few minutes with our director, producer before going on air.
Diane always gets Peggy mic'd up and ready to roll.
Yes, she does, because I can never seem to get that right.
No, this is after she's given you her your wake up call.
That's right.
So it begins. Diane is the linchpin in all this. She has to get Peggy up in the morning, get all the supplies down here, get things set up, make us look good, get us on mic.
Oh, yes.
You got two more pictures, I think, to show here.
And then
you all getting ready?
Yes, we're talking about this. I don't know. I think I look a little too serious there.
You're thinking. You're getting ready.
But you wouldn't believe how much we're having to improvise a lot of these shows as we go on. That's probably we're making our last-minute decisions.
Right. And then one more picture before we go to break. Dave Zarin, our weathercaster, they're doing his weathercast just before we go on the air, which is about a minute before we go live.
The
on the air.
weathercasters have always been here to help us open doors, carry things in. Adam Caskey, Dave Zarin, Brian Vandegraff.
Yeah.
We just
Everybody's been great.
But I think this also helps our viewers to realize that when Debbie sends us out into the garden, it's to that
That's
weather
to that
wall, which is totally green right there, okay? There is nothing on that wall.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we had a few commercials that we've done over the years, so we're going to start with that, so stay tuned.
Peggy Beer. Tune in next week at the same time on News Channel 8 where the garden...
Hi, I'm Debbie Warhurst-Kapp. Bring a touch of the outdoors indoors with wonderful houseplants from Maryfield Garden Center.
Hi, I'm Rob Warhurst from Maryfield Garden Center, where you'll find everything you'll need for beautiful holiday decorating.
Hi, I'm Kim Williams. Treat yourself to a visit to Maryfield Garden Center.
Gardening is fun, relaxing, and great exercise. Hi, I'm Bob Warhurst. For over 30 years now, Maryfield Garden Center has had the pleasure of helping you garden more easily and successfully. The credit, however, goes to you, our customers, who have helped make Maryfield Garden Center one of the largest nurseries in the country, with 2 locations and over 25 acres of plants and gardening accessories. Thank you for shopping at Maryfield Garden Center, and we look forward to serving you for many years to come. Let's go, Sugar.
Maryfield Garden Center.
Hang on.
And from all
wait a
of
minute,
us at Maryfield Garden
there's
Center,
one more. There you go.
happy holiday season. Right, Sugar?
That was
Sugar
always
was the star of several of our commercials.
The very best commercial, yes.
And the commercials, we've had fun making the commercials all these years. You saw some of the very early ones, and you actually saw several family members and Maryfield family members in that 30-second clip.
Yeah, my guess people probably didn't even realize that we produce our own commercials as well as the TV show going on here.
Absolutely. So, okay, so we've done a lot of videos along the way as well, and we've been fortunate to work with Sure Shot Productions. Will and Jeff worked with us over at Media General at the very beginning, and we've worked with them ever since. So we've got a couple pictures to share of just putting some of the videos together.
Right, because I realize even today I get people asking, they don't realize they're asking where we film.
Right.
They don't realize that it's a live show in the studio. And when you see these segments where we're out in the garden or on a landscape, that's done as a video ahead of time, with like I said, the help of professionals like Sure Shot.
Right. Now this is actually at one of our clients' houses. We did a video on that, and this was one of the ones in the rain, I think. It was kind of misty that day, if I remember correctly, and that's Josh Dean, one of our designers.
Yeah. Now you'll notice Josh and myself are standing out in the rain. That umbrella is there. That's just there to protect the camera. Right. But that did give us an opportunity to get out and look at some of the beautiful landscapes and gardens. And you say Debbie, a lot of times if she's not in front of the camera, she's back there keeping an eye on stuff.
I look so serious there.
Well, we call you Eagle Eye because if there's a little flaw, a little something flapping in the wind or a weed popping up, you're watching the monitor there to get it. And of course, Peggy giving a watchful eye there as well.
That's right. Let's see what else we've got here. Ah, that was cool. That was at Peggy's house.
Yes, and Sure Shot is through all these years. We've done so many of the commercials
and commercials and videos.
I've used my garden. It just evolved.
Right.
And used it to teach, to learn, and to teach. and I think that Sure Shot knows my garden as well as I do.
They do, and we don't exactly have the picture, but we were talking about as the technology developed, a lot of this sometimes we've been able to do totally in-house also, some of the more recent work where we're doing the video production, doing the editing, doing that. So again, it does take a lot of people, but we do more and more of it in-house with our own staff at the Garden Center.
And we're able to use that now with Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and YouTube. We've been doing all kinds of things for that, and we'll continue to do that.
And increase, I'm sure, but this was one in my back garden that Debbie always laughed about.
Oh yes, this is the one. Peg was trying to cut a plant.
A fern.
She was trying to separate it to make a couple plants, and she could not get it to cut, and it was just hysterical by the time it was over.
We actually used that video, though.
We did.
I said, whoa. It's just one of those root systems that was
Okay,
resistant.
so now there's in the rain, and there you all are protected. Okay.
Yes.
Well, it was that same day, but what started out as a mist became a rain.
It did, that's right.
And then we did need a little bit of help to get through the filming of the day.
Right.
But I've always thought that's one of the things that has made our program successful, because it is real life, whether you're trying to divide a fern that's not cooperating or you're working with the weather and the elements that's out there, and it's in your own yard. I think it's just been so hands-on and realistic that,
Well, it has been,
that
and
this has been helpful.
This has been the fun of it, and that's not going to stop. While we may not be here, we're there.
That's right.
And we're going to be creative anyway.
That is absolutely true. And there's one, you know, all seasons of the year we film and do commercials and do segments and that type thing. So there's a lot into it. It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And
I can't, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just say, I mean, it takes the help of a lot of people, and I know we've acknowledged Diane's help, as well as all the staff here at 8 production companies
That's
and
right.
everything. So,
It's been-
but it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
But this has been our leader. This is our coordinator and our
goodness.
and her dad and her mother.
Absolutely,
and Doris
Buddy and Doris.
Yeah.
Well, we figured it up. I think we have just shy of 1,300 original shows that we've done over the years.
Really?
So, yep.
I do
So we figured it
realize
out.
that.
Well,
Oh, my.
I'm going to, I may have to read this because I may not get through it, but basically on behalf of Peg, Diane, David, and myself, and all of us at Merrifield Garden Center, we'd like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for watching us each week, for being with us each week. We've enjoyed every moment. There are so many people to thank. We want to thank all of you, of course, for watching, because without you all, we wouldn't be here. We want to thank our wonderful horticulturists and experts at Merrifield Garden Center that have come on and helped us, all the guests that we've had, all the people who've designed sets and gave us story ideas, and the many, many guests from the industry that have been on. We want to thank the incredible crews at News Channel 8. Thank you for the opportunity we've had here. It's been a joy. It's really been a joy. Connie, Marcus, and all the staff at News Channel 8, we really appreciate it. At Merrifield Garden Center, we're looking to the future, so we want to be able to share the joys of gardening with you all the time on Pinterest, Facebook, our email mailing lists, and keep in touch, because we're there at the stores to help you. Come on by and see us.
Yes.
And we're going to look to the future.
Yes, we'll see you there.
There's always something exciting happening, so be on the lookout. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
everything, guys.